Today we're back looking at some more TikTok true crime.
This woman's kidnapping story was so bizarre, many, including police, thought it was a hoax. This is the case of Denise Huskins. In 2015 in Vallejo, California, Denise and Aaron Quinn began dating. They both worked as physical therapists and were a cute couple according to friends. But they had been having some issues as Denise found out that Aaron had been cheating with an ex. The two were having a hard time but trying to work it out. On March 22nd at 3 a.m., the couple was upstairs sleeping at home when they woke up to find an intruder had broken in and was in their bedroom in a wetsuit. The intruder then tells Aaron to give him his computer and bank account information. He then forced the couple to put on swimming goggles that had been covered in duct tape and put headphones on. The intruder was also reportedly telling them how good they were doing throughout the entire ordeal. He gave them both a sedative, took Denise, and told Aaron he'd contact him via text with ransom demands. The next day, Aaron woke up from the sedative. The intruder told him not to call police, so Aaron fell back asleep, but later in the day made the call. Aaron tells police what happened, but to them, the story sounds far-fetched. Aaron's cheating and the couple's recent relationship issues made police suspicious of him. A massive manhunt ensued. 140 police and FBI searched all over for Denise. When suddenly, 48 hours later, Denise reappears, seemingly unharmed in Huntington Beach, California, 400 miles away from where she was taken. She said her captor had released her in her hometown on the street she grew up on. Denise told police a similar story to what Aaron had told them and said she was taken by a man to his home in Lake Tahoe where horrible things happened. Then said he just decided to release her, drove her all the way to Huntington Beach, dropped her off near her dad's home, and then drove away. Twists and turns, but police weren't buying any of it. The story was so elaborate it almost seemed like the plot of a thriller movie. Many began comparing Denise's story to the plot of Gone Girl. Boyfriend or husband is caught cheating, girl leaves, and then pins it on the spouse. Police said they felt they had wasted resources and declared the whole thing a hoax. Both Aaron and Denise hired attorneys. But a reporter at the San Francisco Chronicle started receiving anonymous messages from someone claiming responsibility for the crime. 2 months later, police got reports of another home invasion near San Francisco, another couple, and the stories were eerily similar. The intruder ran away but left his cell phone at the scene. They tracked that phone to this man. Matthew Mueller, a 38-year-old Harvard-trained attorney and ex-Marine. His property is searched, and what do they find in his possession? Aaron's stolen laptop. Go to part 2.
Okay, so we got part 2, but we're gonna read some of the comment section. That is so weird. Like, that just, ugh. He fell back asleep. I mean, I think he was given something which maybe made him sleepy. Like, it's just weird, isn't it? I watched the full updated story, and this police ignored so much evidence. It's so sad what the couple went for, especially the wife. I don't know exactly what the wife went for, but I can probably imagine it wasn't good. However, I don't blame the police for maybe not believing them. I mean, put it this way, imagine someone called the police saying that, like, a man wearing, like, swimming goggles abducted your wife. Like, you'd be thinking, what's going on here?
This is the case of Denise Huskins, part 2. After another home invasion similar to Denise and Aaron's, the suspect, Matthew Mueller, was found, searched, and taken into custody. They find Aaron's stolen computer in Mueller's possession and immediately start putting 2 and 2 together. Denise and Aaron did not make up this entire thing. The man who was guilty had been caught. Strangely, Mueller had used a remote-controlled drone to spy on Denise and Aaron before the entire ordeal. He eventually confessed and was sentenced to 40 years behind bars and was just sentenced to another 31 years. Denise and Aaron were vindicated and won a settlement of $2.5 million from the Vallejo police, but say the whole thing and what they went through was traumatizing. The two are now married with a child. I can't imagine. This is one of the craziest cases I've ever heard of. What are your thoughts?
I mean, to be honest, the only thing I think about it is that it's bizarre. Like, it's just weird. Like, why did he do that? What was the point? He also let her go in the end, so it's like, why did he let her go? That was just so weird. Wait, her husband went back to sleep after his wife was kidnapped and she married him. I mean, I think they were given something. I don't know if it maybe, like, put him to sleep. But it's just so weird. Like, that genuinely feels like something out of, like, I don't know, Alice in Wonderland. Yet murderers get less time than that. You want to know something? Thank God she wasn't murdered. Because usually people who end up kidnapping people, especially like that, they usually end up taking their life as well.
Oh, do I have a crazy case for you today? This case is still currently ongoing and it has completely divided the internet as well as stumped investigators that are looking into it. It is well and truly wild. Like I said, this case is ongoing, so there's not like a load of information out, but we'll go through what we know and then you can come to your own conclusion. So this is 25-year-old Kylie Russell and she is a nursing student from Alabama. And on July 13th, so literally last week, she disappeared. Leading up to her disappearance, she was in her car going along a highway, and on this highway, she claimed that she noticed a toddler just wandering along this highway, bare feet, on its own. So she got out of the car and phoned 911, but she also phoned her family members to tell them, you know, her situation. And while she was on the phone, her family heard a really loud scream and the line went dead. Police arrived at the scene and found Kylie's car still running, with her phone, Apple Watch, hat and wig inside. However, 48 hours later, Kylie would return home on foot. She was taken to hospital where she was later released. Kylie has said that her abductors were a man and a woman. She said that she was put into the back of a truck and drove off. She also said that her kidnappers made her undress and they took photographs of her. But police, as well as the internet, aren't buying it. And we're going to look at some reasons why. The first one being, police have said that there was absolutely no evidence of a wandering child along this highway. There were no other reports of a child, there were no Amber Alerts, there was nothing. Now, obviously that's not to say that there was no child, but it's looking likely that there wasn't. Police also said that Kylie stopped at a restaurant as well as a Target and bought snacks. But upon searching her car, they could not find any evidence of this, like, of the snacks, any rubbish, anything like that, which, of course, she could have binned them, but police aren't sure out unless she could have took them with her. Police also revealed that Kylie had searched on the internet things along the lines of kidnapping, such as Taken, the film, and as well as other searches relating to abductions. Now, like I said, this case is ongoing and police are still kind of hush-hush about details, but I really don't know what to think of this one. I think this is wild. I mean, if the child's story was real, if she really did see a child and she's not lying about this, then the child could have been used as bait to, like, reel her in. Or she could have just made it all up. I don't know.
Because that TikTok we watched was posted a few days ago and we actually have an update. Basically, she admitted to faking her abduction. It's a really, really weird story. So obviously, you know, she pretended she's seen like a child and like went out to help it and then apparently someone kidnapped her. What actually happened was that she faked it and then like went inside in a motel for 48 hours. And apparently she bought like cheese crackers or something like that. I don't know. It's like loads of weird stuff's going on. I think she said maybe her abductors fed her cheese crackers. It's just really weird because like it's bizarre but it's also like laughable. Like she basically faked her abduction and was watching herself in a motel on TV. The fact the person she called heard her screaming in the line went immediately dead is suspicious. Surely they'd hear her struggle. Well, they didn't hear her struggle because that isn't what happened. Yet again, it kind of makes me think like, why did she do that? Was she going through something? Was her mental health all over the place? Or did she just want attention? Because what she reported could actually happen. You know, an abductor could use like a young child to lure somebody in, hoping that they'll go over to the child and then grab them. Like, I just don't understand why she faked it. And like, it's been confirmed that she did fake it. I think the police are actually thinking about like charging her for like wasting their time. But it's just such a bizarre situation. She pretended she was abducted, went missing for 48 hours and then turned up. Like, it's weird. I don't understand it. So yeah, for everyone wondering what happened to her in the end, it turns out that she was just lying about the whole thing.
This couple tortured and killed their live-in nanny over a member of Boyzone. 21-year-old Sophie Leonette was excited to be working as an au pair in London. She was hired by seemingly nice couple Sabrina and Usem. Little did she know Sabrina had a dark side. Sabrina was very much in charge of the household, and soon this idyllic job turned into a complete nightmare for Sophie. She was barely paid and they started to abuse her. She was losing a disturbing amount of weight, and neighbours said that when they saw her she seemed down and depressed. Bizarrely, Sabrina mistakenly convinced her that Sophie was actually spying on the couple for Sabrina's ex, Mark Walton. Mark was actually in the original lineup of the boy band Boyzone, and this was completely untrue. The pair didn't even know each other. Heartbreakingly, police would later find an entry in Sophie's diary titled "Why Me?" The pair would beat her and whip her regularly. When neighbours noticed a bad smell and smoke coming from the property, they alerted police. Authorities discovered a grill with chicken on in the back garden, along with a burn pit, a human nose and fingers. The couple tried to blame each other in court, but ultimately they were both sentenced to 30 years in prison.
30 years for that, so how old are they? Probably in their 30s, 40s, they'll be out eventually. And with the jail system, they could literally get out in 10 years if they behave themselves well. Why didn't she just leave? I mean, it's not easy to leave a situation like that. We don't know truly what went on. They could have manipulated her, blackmailed her, etc. What the hell? Why didn't she just leave? Yet again, people are asking why she didn't leave. If you're in a situation like that, then people are very controlling. They probably had something against her. But it's just so sad how humans can be so cruel. 30 years, that's it, exactly. Like, they literally took someone's life and they get 30 years. 30 years, and they'll probably not even have to serve most of it. With the jail system, like, you could literally get out after like a couple of years if you behave yourself well. I just feel so bad for that woman. Like, I could never imagine being in a situation like that.
4-year-old Paulette went missing from her room on March 22nd, 2010. Her mother had simply put her to bed the night before, and the next morning it seemed as if she had just vanished into thin air. The police searched the house looking for any signs of forced entry or signs of a struggle, but they found nothing. They even brought in specialized dogs and searched her room multiple times, but there was still no trace of Paulette. It was speculated that she was simply kidnapped while she slept. Her family started a social media campaign to gain attention for her case, sometimes even performing live in-person interviews from Paulette's bed. Here's the terrifying part. Paulette was found dead 10 days later in her bed. She had wedged herself between the mattress and the footboard and suffocated. Her body was there the entire time.
I don't believe that. Something about that seems very, very fishy. They brought in detectives and like dogs. Surely they would have picked up on her smell. I don't know if it's just me, but that right there seems a bit suspicious. I think somebody in the family had something to do with it. They took her, she died, and then they put her back there. That doesn't make any sense. I remember this case. Apparently everyone thinks the family had something to do with it because they searched that room how many times everywhere. Exactly. It's like if they're gonna search your room, they're probably gonna check under the bed. And yet again, if someone goes missing, like, that's terrifying. Isn't it freaky to think one day you could be talking to somebody and then the next day they could be missing? That's so strange and doesn't make sense. No smell. That's supposedly how they found her, the smell of the decom. I don't believe that personally. I literally don't believe it. There's no way she was there for 10 days and they didn't sniff her. Like, they were literally doing interviews on top of that bed. Nah, someone in that family knows something. I feel like her body was placed there after she passed. Exactly. That's literally what happened. Quite clearly something happened there and they had to like fake a disappearance and then put her body back there. I'm not buying that conclusion for a second.
This TikToker faked his own death in an attempt to quote-unquote teach his friends and family a lesson after he says he felt unappreciated. The 45-year-old man, David Bartine, concocted the plan to see who in his social circle really cared about him. He even got his daughter involved, telling her to post the heartbreaking news to her Facebook. She posted, quote, "Rest in peace, Daddy. I will never stop thinking about you. Why is life so unfair? Why you? You were going to be a grandfather and you still had your whole life ahead of you. I love you. We love you. We will never forget you." After convincing his friends and family that he was no longer alive, he began planning his funeral. During the ceremony, as friends and family gathered to mourn the loss of David, a helicopter interrupted. Suddenly, a camera crew along with David emerged from the helicopter to surprise all of those in attendance. And of course, the entire stunt was recorded for TikTok.
But why? Like, why would you ever do that? You've literally just put your friends and family members through absolute trauma. What an idiot. That is a whole new level of messed up. Exactly. Like, why would you do that? I don't understand that. Imagine you think a friend dies, you go to a funeral and then they turn up alive. That's so messed up. I'd be pissed off at him. Friendship officially over. Exactly. Like, I'm telling you right now, if that were a friend or family member, I cut them off. Why would you fake your death when you're alive? Like, that's just weird. Well, anyways, guys, that's my little video there. That's some TikTok true crime cases. If you see me look at more cases like this, let me know. Definitely will. Press that big red subscribe and see you all tomorrow for another video.